Texas is back. Back to losing 5 games and playing in the Alamo Bowl. Whee! How about Georgia State versus Wyoming, though? 2 teams that beat SEC teams. Hey, Tennessee. Good morning in that. More on the Tennessee game tomorrow. And I have it on pretty good authority that we will have a special guest here for that game. Back from the dead. Shh. Yeah. And Florida State is even playing in a bowl game. Miracle! Hey, did you know that Willie Taggart is in over his head and doesn't know what he's doing? Good thing he was fired. Like Uncle Lou told you he should have been. Type. Good morning in that. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, and I'm live for you on LouTube today. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it also. And in addition to that as well, subscribe to this channel if you're not already. I post college football videos almost every single day of the year. Some of them are even watchable. This one, I don't know. Sometimes the videos are only as good as the source material. And unfortunately for some of these teams that are straight doo-doo, I don't have a lot to work with today, but I'm going to give it the old college try. That's right, we're going to do a bowl preview today, and as usual, all the numbers that I use in this video, the odds, the spread, over-unders, money lines, all those kinds of things are going to come straight from the website over at betnow.eu. This is the second year in a row that I've been lucky enough to work with the good people over at betnow.eu, and they're going to hook you up. If you get signed up at betnow.eu through the link in the description of this video, and you use promo code Uncle Lou, that's one word, Uncle Lou, they'll give you a bonus on whatever money you deposit. Amazing. Free money. Go make yourself some. All right, today we're going to preview all the bowl games that are happening on Tuesday, which is, of course, New Year's Eve. Today is Monday. I've already previewed all the games being played today. You can click back a video or two to check that one out if you want to. Florida versus Virginia, of course, is the big one coming up tonight, the Orange Bowl. And I'm going to stream on YouTube, not the Patreon page, but on YouTube for everybody, the second half of the Florida-Virginia game, if it's a competitive game, which not a lot of people expect it to be, I know. But if for some reason this is a close, competitive game at halftime, then Uncle Lou's going to stream the second half. I'll come out here and stream the second half, and we can watch the second half together right here on LouTube. But today we're going to preview all the games being played tomorrow, which is Tuesday, New Year's Eve. We're going to do it in chronological order, so I'll start with the first game, which is at 2 o'clock, and we'll go up through the last game, which is at 7:30. Up first, 2 o'clock on CBS, Florida State versus Arizona State. This is the Sun Bowl, played in El Paso, Texas. The Seminoles versus the Sun Devils. That's right. Again, 2 o'clock on CBS, and Arizona State's a 4-point favorite in this one. Arizona State, of course, head coach Herm Edwards, back from the dead last year. They dusted him off from ESPN and rolled him out to Arizona to be the head coach here for Arizona State. And to be honest, he's exceeded expectations. At least he's exceeded my expectations. I questioned how good he could really be after being out of coaching for so long. And really, when you look at, he was in the NFL for a long time. He was in college for a little bit prior to going to the NFL, but that was decades ago. And I questioned how much success Herm Edwards could really have on the college level. And while they haven't won a division or a conference or anything like that, they're Arizona State. And like I said, in my opinion, he's done a better job there than I thought he would do. So let's give a little bit of credit. Florida State, on the other hand, hired a terrible head coach a few years ago. Everyone knew it. Willie Taggart, I don't know how he got the job. He wasn't qualified and he didn't deserve it. He had a losing record everywhere he had been. Florida State brings him in, and then they act surprised that the guy can't win games. It was amazing and unbelievable. I've been talking for 2 years about what a terrible hire it was. Willie Taggart didn't know what he was doing. He was in over his head. I got accused of being a racist for not liking Willie Taggart, which is just completely ridiculous. 2 of my favorite coaches in all of college football, of course, being James Franklin and David Shaw, if you pay any attention at all. I talk way too much about those 2 coaches. 2 of my favorites. The Syracuse coach. I could go on and on. The idea that somebody is racist because they don't like a coach who happens to be black is just ridiculous. Willie Taggart. Listen, hating a terrible coach is not an ethnicity. A terrible coach is not a race. Willie Taggart just didn't know what he was doing. Now, it's funny. All the Florida State fans agree with me now, but in the offseason, Uncle Lou was a racist because he didn't like Willie Taggart. Type on it some more. I don't know what to tell you. Arizona State's a 4-point favorite in this one. Willie Taggart, of course, gone, fired. They're bringing in the guy from Memphis. That's not going to help you here. Sorry. I do think it'll help long term. I do like the hire. Way better than I like the Willie Taggart hire. I think the guy can be successful. He's going to need a recruiting class or two because for whatever reason, Florida State has completely taken a dump on its own offensive line and hasn't recruited a decent quarterback since Jameis Winston. So we'll see. It's going to take a year or two, but I do have faith in the new coach you guys have brought in. Not going to help you today. Arizona State's going to win this game. 4 points is not enough. Give me the Sun Devils. Lay them 4 points. All right, 3:50 p.m. over on ESPN. To me, this is probably the least interesting game of the day. Kansas State versus Navy in the Liberty Bowl. Memphis, Tennessee. Navy's a 2.5-point favorite in this one. I have zero interest in this game at all. I do enjoy watching the service academies from time to time. I never trash talk the service academies, and I never will. Navy is a 2.5-point favorite on this one. I think that's wrong. I think Kansas State is the better team. I like Kansas State's coaching staff too. Some schools do a good job of bringing in coaches. Some jobs do a terrible school. I think Kansas State hit a home run with their hire, bringing a guy down from North Dakota State, wasn't it? Yeah, pretty sure that it was. Navy, a good team, not a great team. And they've been a good team, really, for what seems like a lot of years in a row. Them and Army, both. Army took a step back this year after winning double-digit games each of the last couple of seasons. Navy, okay, favored by 2.5 here. I'm going to take the underdog here in Kansas State. Don't really have a reason. Again, I'm not going to, I don't ever trash talk or I try not to anyway make any jokes about the service academies. Shout out to everybody at Navy, in the Navy, used to be in the Navy, any armed services. Really, you got more balls than Uncle Lou does. So it's nothing personal here. I just have a feeling Kansas State finds a way to get this one done. The underdog, Kansas State on the money line. I don't even want the 2.5 points. Oh man, 4:30. This will be a good one, won't it? 4:30 on the CBS Sports Network. If you're able to find that channel, you've accomplished something. Georgia State versus Wyoming in the Arizona Bowl, played in Tucson, Arizona. Now, this game would not be interesting under normal circumstances, but both of these teams managed to beat SEC teams this year, both in week 1. Georgia State, of course, beating Tennessee, just one of the most humiliating losses of the entire season for any school anywhere in America. You paid them $1 million to come in and slap you around for 3.5 hours, and it was just absolutely pitiful, pathetic, and hilarious to watch for Uncle Lou. I got tons of material off of that one game alone. I know you rebounded last half of the season and won a few games against SEC teams with losing records, but nevertheless, that doesn't change the fact that you found a way to lose to Georgia State. Jeremy Pruitt. I'll hold off on my thoughts on him until tomorrow's video when we talk about Tennessee versus Indiana. Wyoming, of course, beat Missouri at home. Missouri traveled to Wyoming, so Missouri took a road trip to get their ass beat by a nobody team. Wyoming, Arizona Bowl, Tucson, Arizona, Tuesday, 4:30 p.m. CBS Sports Network. Wyoming's a 7-point favorite. I do think Wyoming's the better team. I'm going to take Georgia State. It was sort of a feel-good story at the beginning of the year. Georgia State was absolutely terrible last season. I think they won 2 or 3 games, dead last in their conference. Now, after they beat Tennessee, people were like, oh my God, Georgia State, they might actually be a pretty good team. Didn't turn out to be the case, but they did get bowl eligible, which is a big step forward for Georgia State. I'm from Georgia. Maybe this is a homer pick. I don't know. Give me Georgia State, but I need all 7 of those points, though. All right, and probably the best game of the day, could be the most competitive game of the day, and definitely the game featuring the 2 most marquee teams, at least this season, in college football, right? Tuesday night, 7:30 on ESPN, you got the Texas Longhorns taking on Utah in the Alamo Bowl. Remember that? Not the Alamo Bowl, but the Alamo. Yeah, we remember the Alamo. Yeah, we remember. Yeah, Texas beating Georgia in the Sugar Bowl was the biggest thing to happen to Texas since they defended the Alamo. But anyway, Texas versus Utah. Utah's a 7.5-point favorite in this one. Utah's season ended in disappointing fashion, right? Sitting on 1 loss, heading into the Pac-12 championship game with a chance, at least in theory, to make the college football playoff. Oklahoma, of course, ended up winning the following day, but Utah lost, knocking themselves out of any hope of making the college football playoff. It would have been interesting to see what the committee would have done had Utah pulled it off. You'd have had Utah and Oklahoma sitting there with the exact same record, both with conference championships. I would like to have seen Utah get in over Oklahoma for obvious reasons. The reason being, Oklahoma gets humiliated every single time they get placed into the college football playoff by the committee. It makes no sense. I'm putting Oklahoma on a 2-year playoff ban. You guys remember a couple of years ago, the Big Ten made the playoffs 2 years in a row and got shut out both times. Remember that? 31-0 and 38-0, Michigan State and Ohio State. And I put them on the playoff ban. And of course, playoff committee, they watch these Uncle Lou videos every day like they're supposed to. So they went ahead and kept the Big Ten out of the playoffs for 2 years. Same thing's going on now with Oklahoma. I'm ordering the playoff committee to ban Oklahoma from the playoffs for 2 years. Everyone is tired of watching Oklahoma get beat in the first round of the college football playoff every single year. And that's what happens. You got no defense. This year, your offense wasn't even up to par, and you just got humiliated in one of the worst beatdowns I've ever seen. Not just in the playoffs, just period, in general. Ridiculous. LSU could have scored 100 points on you, 35-7 with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. What was it, 42-14? Ended up being 63 points. They took the starters out early in the fourth quarter. It was just one of the most humiliating sporting performances I've ever seen. And Oklahoma Sooners have no business anywhere near a college football playoff anytime in the immediate future. Uncle Lou orders 2-year playoff ban for the land thieves. Don't care what type of engine you are, stay out of the playoffs. Texas versus Utah. Utah's 7.5-point favorite. Texas might be one of the most disappointing teams in America this year. They were top 10 preseason. Texas fans were loud as hell in the offseason after they beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl last year in a game that Georgia could have cared less about, which pisses me off. To me, the Sugar Bowl is a huge deal. So again, shout out to Texas for winning that game. But the product Georgia put on the field in that game was absolutely embarrassing. And we're getting ready to do it again against Baylor this year when we trot half a team that doesn't want to be there out on the field to get slapped around by Baylor in 2 days. I'll probably talk about that game tomorrow or whatever. It doesn't matter. Texas versus Utah. Utah favored by 7.5. Texas, terrible season. I'm sorry. Top 10, all these expectations, talking all season long. You come out, you lose to every good team you play, you go 7-5. Absolutely embarrassing, humiliating, and sad. Utah, disappointing. Now, match these two teams up in the regular season at any point during the regular season this year, and Utah beats the bejesus out of them without a problem. My question in this game is going to be Utah's motivation, and it's for the same reasons I talk about all the time. When a team is one game away, a conference championship game away from making a college football playoff, they tend to not show up in whatever big bowl game they end up getting put into. We've seen this time and time again. Not every time, but way more than half the time. Will that happen to Utah? No, I don't think it will. Why? Utah's never made a college football playoff. I think they're going to show up and play here. I know it's just the Alamo Bowl. It's not even a New Year's Six Bowl. It's just, but Texas is a marquee name, though. So even though this isn't a New Year's Six Bowl, because Utah's matched up against Texas, I have a feeling they come out ready to go. And I just think Texas is that bad. They were depleted by injuries this year. Their defense was absolutely pitiful, which sort of carried them the last couple of seasons. I think Utah gets this one here. I don't think it's going to be close. 7.5 to me is not enough. I could see Utah winning this game in the 10-14 range. Texas getting ready to take another L. What would that be? 6 this year? Definitely back to what we all knew you were, a mediocre team. Give me Utah, lay the points. All right, there you have it. All the previews for the bowl games coming up tomorrow, Tuesday, New Year's Eve. Florida State versus Arizona State, Kansas State versus Navy, Georgia State versus Wyoming, and Texas versus Utah. I appreciate you guys watching. There will be no live show Tuesday night this week because Tuesday night, of course, is New Year's Eve. So no live show Tuesday night. The next live show will be Wednesday morning. It will be a call-in show. It's going to be the show that we normally do on Saturday mornings during the season. The College Game Day Watch with Lou call-in show. I'll have College Game Day on out here. There's a bunch of big games, obviously, with it being New Year's Day, including Georgia versus Baylor in the Sugar Bowl and several others. So we'll take phone calls Wednesday morning for a couple hours and talk about those matchups and the results of the previous matchups. You guys know the routine. That'll be Wednesday morning. We'll start the show around 8 or 9, somewhere in that time frame there, and run for a couple hours. I'll see you guys then. I appreciate you watching this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again real soon. Have a good morning.